Can you explain to me what that means as someone that has never played any Persona game ever?
Yes, Persona 3 Portable, it originally came out on the PSP and is a remaster X, or kind of like demaster technically, of the
Okay.
Persona 3 on PS2. Persona 4 Golden, it's been out on Steam for 2.5 years just about, but now it's on,
Hmm.
Xbox, Switch, PlayStation, or
Okay.
modern day PlayStation. Historically, Persona has been very much a PlayStation series ever since the PlayStation 1. Really,
Hmm.
the only thing that has deviated from that is spin-offs as of recent. For example, Persona Q and Q2 on 3DS, and Persona 5 Strikers, which is a direct sequel to Persona 5, came out on
Okay.
Switch, which didn't
Is
have
this correlated with something being bought out, I'm assuming?
no, it's not. I
Licensing, something like that?
I mean, you could argue there was rumors that Microsoft was going to buy Sega, and Sega owns Atlus, but
Oh, okay, yeah, I was wondering where, where it followed up to who owns Persona. Okay, so it is pretty separate from everything then.
yeah, I don't believe it's because of any buyouts or anything. To be
Okay.
fair, historically speaking, Xbox was not really, for JRPGs, and also
Yeah,
Nintendo, they just kind of weren't selling well, and
yeah.
or were either for just casual consumers. Like you couldn't have Persona 1 and 2 on the N64. There's like
Mhm.
two RPGs on N64. And, it was mostly that, like, it was like PlayStation. PlayStation had a grip on it
Mhm,
ever since they came out. But then Xbox really wanted to cut into that market with the JRPGs. Also
mhm.
Nintendo Switch, that blew up. People love taking it on the go, all that good stuff. So,
Yeah.
we you know we got Persona 3 Portable and 4 Golden on every platform. Same with Persona 5. That was a few months ago. So there is some issues with the remaster of Persona 3 Portable, which is
Awesome! Who could have guessed? How do
arguably
the viewers
worse.
feel about it? They're fine with it, right? They're totally happy, they don't care, they're
Uh,
totally fine? No,
okay,
y'all are mad.
first off, de novo anti-cheat software. So
Okay.
yeah, there's there's anti-cheat, which is gonna make the game run worse,
Mhm.
and also the audio for the remastered version is worse and more compressed on
Oh,
yeah,
no.
even on computer than it is on the PSP.
So just the original files are just actually worse.
I
Why would they and they re-released this is after the fact. It didn't get better, it got worse.
yeah. Oh, and also the backgrounds are AI upscaled. So, and it's kind of obvious. It used a free, I think it's like Waifu 2X. It's a free just upscaler. So,
Mhm.
didn't even go back and do it yourself. But looks like we have a super chat from Kite Chaz. Says, if you enjoy
Ooh.
Persona, then check out my channel for when I live stream Persona 5 Royal. Good chill, question mark. So
Smooth.
real smooth. Thank you for the $5. It's
Sweet. Maybe I'll go check out Persona on your channel then.
real. Yeah, and not to mention, Persona 3 Portable being remastered was already a controversial decision, because there's not really a definitive edition of Persona 3 when it, out the gate. Because
Okay.
because Persona has a thing with re-releases. So on the PlayStation 2, there's
Mhm,
Persona 3, then a year later Persona 3 FES, which has more story
mhm.
content and a few other bells and whistles. That
Okay.
people consider that to be the definitive edition, but then there's also the PSP version, which came out a few years later, which has some major changes, and also a completely new playable protagonist with her own social links. But the
It's very
whole
new.
yeah thing is, the whole game is presented in a visual novel style.
Mhm.
So, obviously, because the PSP is less powerful than PS2, there had to be some compromises there,
Yeah.
and there's not really a definitive edition of it, because it's like the PSP version doesn't even have the FES content in it.
Yeah. Then there's, just kinda some contents in some versions of the game, some ports it didn't make it to it, just
Yeah.
people are kinda is there anything that's, Well, I guess there's a whole ass character, so yeah, there's got to be
Yeah.
some continuity disagreements.
Yeah, it's yeah, they had to fit everything on a single I mean, I don't think the lore when it comes to Persona is a little, kind you could
I
consider
want
it.
to learn about the all the different ports of it and like more specifically like how they ported it over, what they cut out, like what the devs were like having to deal with. That's always interesting to me. I know Resident Evil had a lot of drama with, well, I say drama, it's like that's a weird word to use. It's just stress with the developers
Yeah.
because they were like, how the fuck do we fit this onto this? And they had to do a lot of different things, basically just re-engineer the game.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they did that with any Persona ports. That would be really cool to learn.
That's what was done with the PSP. It's
Oh, that's what
essentially,
you're saying. Okay.
yeah, it's essentially just like taking, how some games, especially with like when the DS and 3DS came out, they would have like the console version and then a separate like DS version with the same name.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing with Persona 3 FES and portable. They're like, think of
Okay.
it like that. There's not,
Dang.
yeah, there's not really a definitive edition already, but they decided to just do PSP, Persona 3 portable.
Oh, did you ever play Catherine?
I have it on my Steam account. I'm planning on playing it on a live stream.
Cool. So which version of the game do you have? Because they
Um
also did a thing where they added a whole ass character.
yeah. The funny thing is, I have Catherine on Steam, and they released Catherine on Steam like 2 months before Catherine Full Body came out on everything else
Uh,
but Steam.
mhm.
So it just made, I just like for the, it
Wait,
was
it
like,
never came out on Steam?
no, not Full Body, only the original
What?
Catherine. Yeah.
Why are they throwing money away? Why would they do that?
Well, okay, Atlus is a Japanese company which seems very
Oh.
not understanding, or there's just some mess up in the head.
There's just some kind of just a barrier going on. I know there's a lot of miscommunications that can happen in the industry between Japan and America. I've heard of lots of this.
Yeah. Like I remember when the Persona 4 Golden port came to Steam in 2020, they did not expect it to do good at all. Because like they didn't even know there was a market for JRPGs on PC. And then it just did gangbusters.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe that everyone's trying to hop on the bandwagon now after it's like, yeah, we've already played them all. We already all the tropes we know them. What do you got?
Yeah. Continuing with the article, Persona 3 Portable first released on the PlayStation Portable in Japan in November 2009, before arriving in North America in 2010 and later in Europe in 2011. This remake of the cult classic PS2 JRPG combines elements from the original version and Persona 3 FES, an expanded re-release that made numerous changes and added a story epilogue called The Answer. While the epilogue was not included in Portable, the remake introduced many elements also introduced in Persona 4 in 2008, such as controllable party members in combat. So yeah, by the way, in Persona 3 and FES, you could not control your own party members in combat.
Okay, and then they just changed the entire.
So that was changed in Persona 4.
It seems like that would completely change the way that you would think about combat in the first place, right?
Well, I don't know. There's just something frustrating about an AI. Like, you only control one party member out of 4, and then there's just 3 AIs
that are just popping off doing whatever.
yeah, basically.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
there's
that can just be a big like hurdle for newcomers. And obviously if you played Persona 5, that's kind of, that's considered like, baby's first Persona. It's pretty easy. So you maybe Alice just doesn't want people going into Persona 3 and not understanding. It's very,
like they're taking a little baby mode now that the game got more popular, and then they're going back and making the older games easier because they're like, wait guys, you can go back and play them. So it said it added an epilogue called The Answer. I feel like if they added something like that to anything that I play, I'd be pissed. Is that something that's accepted?
I heard that the answer is not really good in terms of both gameplay and story. Yeah, because it's considered like an epilogue. Like it's it ties up all the loose ends, you could say. Yeah, but
Cool.
yeah, this was back in the PS2 era, so I guess it kind of makes sense where you would have to
Oh,
like do a whole new re-release just
okay,
for.
yeah, that is a long time ago, to be fair. I was thinking that this was more recent.
No, yeah. Um, so yeah, it says Persona 4 was originally came out in 2008, and then Persona 3 came
Oh,
out
yeah, it says right there.
yeah, or the portable edition at least came out in 2009.
Mm. Yeah, so that means the other one was even earlier.
Yeah. While Persona 3 Portable has been well received by returning fans and newcomers, the latest port from Atlus to Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and PC has received some criticism. While a lot of these criticisms focus on the use of AI upscaling on characters and backgrounds, one major flaw that fans have pointed out is that all versions of the game contain some heavily compressed audio. Thankfully, a patch appears to be in the works, at least according to Twitter user SMT Network. According to the account, an update for Persona 3 Portable in all the final stages of development and will tackle the audio compression for all versions of the game.
So they did say that it's not going to be like that, I guess.
Yeah, so there'll be an update. There'll be an update for it to be normal. And the funny thing is, Atlus did the same thing where they remastered Shin Megami Tensei 3, and the audio compression was the same as the PlayStation 2 audio compression.
Wow.
Which by the way, the audio, the music, everything was heavily compressed for SMT3 because it all fit on one disc.
Yeah, I was wondering if the reason why they tried to release something with super compressed audio was because they were like, man, let's see if we can just try to make the file size a little smaller. Let's see if we can have just less components moving and the game will run a little smoother. Let's see if they just notice. Do they even care about the OST? And then everyone's like, yes, we do care about the OST. And then they're like, fine.
It's Persona 3, yeah, or it's Persona in general. Of course, we care about the OST.
Yeah, I've never played the game, but I do listen to the soundtrack on YouTube, so I know people like it. I like it.
That is a lot of Persona fans. I guarantee you. No, the first I remember that when Persona 5 was announced, or like coming to like every console, what my reaction to it was, wow, I'm glad Persona fans can finally play Persona 5. And that struck a chord. Yeah, but speaking of which, there is a rumor of a Persona 3 remake and Persona 6 reportedly being far along in development. Reveals are planned for the summer. To be fair, there has been a lot of talk about a full remake of Persona 3 because the whole schism when it came to Persona 3 FES versus portable, it's been going back for a long time. And I do think that it does need a remake, because it can have the quality of life fixes when it comes to Persona 3, and all the basically the gameplay, the style, all that good stuff from Persona 5's engine, and then it'll have the extra content in FES. Not to mention the other playable protagonists introduced in portable, which we have not had a second protagonist since. There's because there's basically like not two completely different games, but they're two different. You're playing as two completely separate people.
Yeah, perspective in the game.
Yeah, the dialogues even changed too, like very very subtly. But it's cool.
Huh. It's a little neat that they did that, I guess. I like stuff that's like matching like that, gimmicky. It's cute.
Yeah. Thing is, I don't think I believe this to be true. Okay, one, it's a reset era for forum. I've heard this for a while. I doubt it's really gonna happen. Maybe one of them. I highly doubt, because I'm pretty sure Persona 6 there was just a creative lull that the dev team was in where they just didn't know where to go with it. And also with the
what do the devs like? How do we know this? How do the devs talk to us? Are these rumors or are the devs tweeting? Like,
I just know there was a developer interview where they said like after
Okay,
Persona 5 came out,
interview.
there was just like creative lull. But that that was a while ago. Persona 5 originally came out in 2016 in Japan. So
Oh, okay. So this has been a while.
yeah, long time. And I believe
Hopefully
Persona.
they thought of something by now.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it's fine. They might because Persona 2 had a sequel, so it was like Persona 2 and Persona 2 2 basically. They I feel like they wouldn't be against just doing a Persona 5 too, because the Phantom Thieves are like really popular. Like,
And
Persona 5 in
everyone does
particular.
like Persona 5.
Yeah,
It would
I
be
mean,
free money for them instantly.
there are some purists that don't like Persona 5 with how much, because it's basically like, oh, it's so popular, there has to be
Yeah,
backlash. that's
yeah,
that's
obviously.
essentially it. Yeah, but I feel like that could be easy money. There kind of is already Persona 5 2 with strikers, but it's a Warriors game basically.
Yeah. My ears perked up when I heard that the leak used the phrase "far along in development," because every time I hear about game stuff getting leaked, I don't really care unless
Hmm.
it's like from some place that's like especially reputable, or it's like a really weird link or leak, like whenever Silk Song was in like the Nvidia thing, it was like, oh my gosh, it's coming out in Q1 of 2022 or whatever it was, and it was like that
Oh,
shit obviously didn't happen.
yeah,
But
that was.
unless
We're
it's something
still
like
waiting
that, I
for
usually
it.
don't listen. But I've never heard it described as like far along in development. That sounds like someone that's confident said that. So that
Yeah,
makes me feel like, oh, maybe it'll really happen. Maybe
and
we're about to get it.
also it's in quotes. So
Yeah.
I feel like what would release first? Like Persona 3 remake or Persona 6, because they already have a Persona 3, portable, like they just released Persona 3 portable on everything.
Mhm.
Why would they release a remake less than a year later? That's the issue.
Yeah, it would make more sense for them to kind of sandwich it in and do like, Persona 6 and then do like a little marketing kind of riding the wave off of that release and then
Hmm.
be like, by the way, we did 3 again.
Yeah. Yeah, that could. I don't know. Would Persona 3 be more similar in gameplay and style to Persona 5 than Persona 6 in that case, if they're being developed simultaneously?
Hmm.
Yeah,
They
these are
probably have completely separate teams, right? There's no way they
probably.
would be sharing resources. That'd
Yeah,
be way too
yeah.
complicated.
Yeah, that's probably the case.
But I don't know because every company is different and sometimes they use like the same people for lore stuff or story writing, that kind of stuff. They want
Hmm.
continuity. But this game seems so big that probably there's a lot of people that contribute to it, right?
Yeah, most likely. Especially after Persona 5. That like,
Mhm.
it was big. It was big. Thank you so much for watching this clip from the Gamer Gear podcast, also available on Spotify. If you want to see the full episode where we talk about many more topics, then click the link in the description, find the card, or just go to my channel, which you should be subscribed if you have not already, because I make the greatest gaming content in the world. Make sure you check it out. I hope you have a good day. Peace out.